Gary Spoor and his wife, Wendy Wood, looked like a real-life success story. They met in college, stayed together for more than 50 years, and built a massive real estate empire around Lake Tahoe. By the time they retired, their net worth had crossed $20 million. They settled into a stunning waterfront home in Homewood, surrounded by everything they'd worked for. They had 2 daughters, Adrian and Erin. Erin married Daniel Serafini, a man who once seemed destined for greatness. A dominant high school pitcher, Daniel became a first-round draft pick and spent years playing professional baseball in the U.S. and overseas. For a while, he lived the dream every young athlete imagines. But Daniel's career never fully lived up to the promise. His powerful arm came with control problems, and his stats told a frustrating story: more losses than wins. When his career ended, he and Erin returned home to start a family. The Spoors embraced their roles as grandparents, and on the surface, life seemed peaceful again. That peace ended abruptly on June 5, 2021. Gary Spoor was found dead inside his home, killed by a gunshot. Wendy had also been shot and was barely alive. Security footage showed a masked figure in a hoodie moving swiftly across the property. There was no forced entry. Nothing was stolen. Almost immediately, police knew this wasn't a robbery. It was personal. Inside the house, investigators uncovered chilling evidence of a carefully planned ambush. The living room showed signs of a sudden, violent confrontation. Spent shell casings, shattered glass, and blood spatter that told a grim story. Gary was struck first. He died instantly, never having a chance to react. Wendy was shot multiple times, but, against all odds, remained conscious long enough to reach a phone. Her call for help likely saved her life, at least temporarily. She was airlifted to a hospital and endured weeks of surgeries, pain, and uncertainty. Though she survived the initial attack, her injuries were catastrophic. Brain trauma, physical limitations, and heavy medication left her unable to clearly identify who had attacked them or why. Detectives hoped time might bring clarity, but it never did. The investigation dragged on. Authorities combed through financial records, scrutinized business disputes, and analyzed family dynamics within the wealthy Serafini circle. Despite the family's immense fortune and complex relationships, no immediate suspects could be charged. Leads dried up. Months turned into years. Desperate for answers, Adrian Serafini stepped into the public eye. She made emotional pleas through the media, offering a substantial reward and begging anyone with information to come forward. Outwardly, the family presented unity, but behind closed doors, fractures were deepening. Then the tragedy worsened. Crushed by trauma, chronic pain, and the irreversible damage caused by the attack, Wendy took her own life. She died without ever seeing justice for her husband or for herself. Her death extinguished the most important surviving witness, casting an even darker shadow over the case. What followed was a bitter and public legal war. Adrian accused her sister Erin and Erin's husband, Daniel Serafini, of orchestrating the murder to gain access to the family fortune. Erin countered with claims that Adrian had manipulated their mother during her final months to seize control of the estate. Civil lawsuits exploded across courtrooms, while old wounds were reopened and alliances shattered. Meanwhile, homicide detectives never stopped working. By late 2023, after years of quiet investigation and mounting evidence, authorities finally acted. Daniel Serafini was arrested. Investigators painted a picture of a man in free fall. Daniel's career had ended amid a drug scandal. His post-baseball business ventures failed, including a bar that briefly appeared on a reality TV show. He was buried in debt, owing hundreds of thousands of dollars. The luxury life was gone. At one point, he was living in a trailer at a job site. Daniel and Erin had become financially dependent on her parents, a reality that reportedly filled Daniel with resentment and humiliation. Prosecutors argued that this bitterness eventually turned violent. Another arrest soon followed. Samantha Scott, once close to the family through Erin's horse ranch and later their live-in nanny, was taken into custody. Her phone data placed her traveling from Nevada to a location near the crime scene at the exact time of the shooting. Cameras captured the masked shooter meeting a vehicle there for a getaway. Samantha initially claimed she believed she was involved in a drug deal, but under pressure, she cooperated. She admitted to having a secret affair with Daniel and described how he dismantled the weapon during the drive home. She confirmed he knew the house would be unlocked and the couple vulnerable. At trial in 2025, prosecutors argued Daniel was driven by greed, anger, and wounded pride. They presented evidence of past threats he had made toward Gary. Even without a murder weapon or DNA, they relied on advanced video analysis, showing the shooter's unique walking pattern matched Daniel's gait, shaped by years of pitching. The defense argued there was no physical evidence and questioned why Daniel would kill the people funding his lifestyle. The jury wasn't convinced. Daniel Serafini was found guilty of first-degree murder. Adrian felt relief, but the story still isn't over. Daniel's legal team is pushing for a new trial, claiming jurors improperly analyzed video evidence on their own. Sentencing is paused while the court decides what comes next. What remains is a chilling reminder. Success, money, and fame don't protect a family from resentment. Sometimes they make the fallout even more devastating.